target.
So I'm your host, Kelvin Daly, and I thank you for joining us once again.
Join the conversation.
I looked at it on Facebook and I read the speech and I'm trying to find out what is the commitment to renal failure in Nevis, and I'm yet to find it.
Be a part of the debate.
What he needs to do is to allow the people to do their work in accordance with the relevant legislation, and he must not overreach, because when he makes those suggestions, he is in a sense misleading the population here.
Speak your mind. Defend your country. Call in. Numbers to call: 869-669-7312. That's 869-669-7312 or 917-460-2187. That's 917-460-2187. On target here on 2020 Vision Radio every Saturday from 1 to 3 p.m. On target. Be a part of it. On target.
So I'm your host, Kelvin Daly, and I thank you for joining us once again.
Join the conversation.
I looked at it on Facebook and I read the speech and I'm trying to find out what is the commitment to renal failure in Nevis, and I'm yet to find it.
Be a part of the debate.
What he needs to do is to allow the people to do their work in accordance with the relevant legislation, and he must not overreach, because when he makes those suggestions, he is in a sense misleading the population here.
Speak your mind. Defend your country. Call in. Numbers to call: 869-669-7312. That's 869-669-7312 or 917-460-2187. That's 917-460-2187. On target here on 2020 Vision Radio every Saturday from 1 to 3 p.m. On target. Be a part of it.
The views and opinions expressed on this program are strictly those of the participants and do not represent those of 2020visionradio.com or its advertisers.
Let us put our hands together for Papa Wheeler!
Suicide bomber, bring it there to shout for me. I want them to roar, boy, roar for me. Anything you want, you go get, boy. I'm mixing up the soca with some Hindi and some rumba, chutney and lavandera. ID no necessary, boy. Whisker lips and mercenary. Bring it there to shout for me. I wanted to roar raw boy, raw for me. Maintain your impulso, total zombie and beater. Take it away. Local fans decreasing. Boy, by the numbers they keep dropping. Nobody don't shout no more like they used to shout before. Boy, disgruntled fans they crumbling about promise songs. Fail on delivering. Boy, start song and can't finish it. Standard English, singing stupidness, nonsense. Why don't you sing a song and dance again? Tell me what happened to me fair share when the money disappear. Ooh yeah, boy. Stuart Chipping question here. Bringing them to shout for me. I wanted to roll, boy, roll for me. Complex. Yes, if they don't call me king, boy, I do it like the doctor, placing their compass, suicide bomber, bringing them to shout for me. I wanted to roar, boy, roar for me. I'm gonna be mashing up the complex. Yes, if they don't call me king. Doctor, placing your compass, suicide bomber. Boy, bringing them to shout for me. I want you to roar, boy, roar for me. Anything you want, you go get. Boy, I'm mixing up the soca with some Hindi and some rumba, chutney and la bandera. I didn't know necessary. Boy, we got lips of mercenary. Bringing them to shout for me. I wanted to roar, boy, roar for me. Maintain your impulso. Total zombie and Peter. Boy, take it away. Airlines, see bridge and see taxi, bringing them to shout for me. I want them to roar, boy, roar for me. You don't know, you got to spend big money if you wanna win monarchy. I go got the diaspora. 420 in my corner, boy, share the life, boy. Press like, subscribe, sharing. All here the diaspora's king. Your king gonna be knocking down your airport, knocking down hospital walls, boy, training geothermal. Let the Jewish people sing the song. These Hebrew boys don't understand. Begging them to shout for me. I want them to roar, boy, roar for me. I'll be rocking down the complex. Yes, if they don't crown me king, do it like the doctor, president, compass, suicide bomber. Bringing them to shout for me. I want them to roar, boy, roar for me. Anything you want, you go get. Yes, I'm mixing up the soca with some Hindi and some rumba, chutney and la bandera. ID don't necessary. Please calypso mercenary. Boy, bring it to the show for me. I want it raw for me. Prendete le pulso. Todo son bienvenida. Keep the momentum. Everybody is welcome. Thank you.
Papa Wheeler.
Good afternoon and welcome to another edition of On Target. And as usual on a Saturday afternoon, I'm your host Kelvin Daly, and my two co-hosts are in studio with me. The man Tula Weeks from up there in Hamilton Estate, and of course Danny Hensley Daniel, a friend for life from over there, formerly from Claygut. Cox, bottom of nowhere.
Yes.
No, but resides in Prospect. Yes. So Cox, he's a Cox man.
COX. I know where you're heading.
I wasn't not heading anywhere.
COX.
I have found religion. I am better.
Oh, I hear you say you no longer after this seat, you no longer want to go to hell. You heard him? You wanted to go there to visit some people.
What? 21st June. My name is Mervyn Hanley. I'm hearing a broadcast. Is that whose phone is that? That's my phone? That's your phone, Hensley. Yeah, you are a real Coxman. You can't walk your phone. Anyway, let me say special good afternoon to those on the FM dial, YouTube, of course, Twitch, and of course, if you're on the Facebook feed, we always welcome your commentary, your comments, your ideas, suggestions, whatever it is. And, you know, today is a hot day, just like it's been hot the last few months. And but we're here, and we have a lot to talk about, a whole lot to talk about. We didn't get to cover much on Thursday evening regarding the Premier's press conference, so we'll piggyback on some of the recordings that were made possible for the Tell Me show. We're going to run them on our show today. So be careful, be warned that if you are going to be throwing up because you hear the Premier's voice, get some Pepto-Bismol ready, because we're going to have to play you some of them, not all of them, some of them.
As my mother would say, Kel, I was born under a strong constitution, so
okay,
you could take all of them to me.
All right. Let me say good afternoon to those first 5 persons who made podium, and again for the 6th week in a row. 6 weeks in a row. I don't know what happened to Jetty, but Jetty has been dethroned by none other than LCQ, that Loretta Clark Quilly, that grandmother from up there in Florida. And Jetty came in second. My good friend Adele McClendon clocked in third. And right behind Adele was nurse Dion Flanders. She's off today, home listening, relaxing with a bag of popcorn and Coca-Cola, I guess. I don't know.
No hammer.
I don't know. And right behind that, the lady who loves to dance, Pearl Francis, always dancing the jig. How are you, Pearl?
Really?
I hope you're doing well. And then my good friend Oral Joseph clocked in 6th. So, you just barely missed podium today, but you did well. Ivor Henry up in Georgia, good afternoon to you. He's always on target. Daldria Dull Penny down there on St. Kitts. She's in the house bright and early. Last week she was shopping in the Rams. Get caught in the rain, so there's no rain today.
You know all them details.
Don't worry about it. I have a special bond to Daldria Dull Penny.
Look like you.
She always sends me messages, behave yourself.
Okay.
You know.
Like when she cooks, you eat as well?
Josie Brooks, good afternoon. Gigi Williams Keat is in the house, that warrior from St. James. She's here.
Oh, yes.
And Lorraine B. Richardson is also with us today. Good afternoon to you, Lorraine. Cecile Hobson is in the house.
Yeah, that warrior from St. Thomas.
Okay, then. Cecile is in the house. And Ingrid, IDF, Israeli Defense Force? No.
No,
Ingrid Daniel Farrell.
Yeah.
Ingrid, I hope I didn't mess up your name. All right? And then Iona Door. Como esta, muchacha, over there in Bath Village. How are you? Long time I haven't laid eyes on you. Hope you're doing well.
That's not a bad idea. Keep out of certain people if you don't.
Ruby Walters, my dear friend, how are you? And Earl Maskell is in the house. Go down to your Earl. So is Muriel Brown, and Olivia David is with us. Lovely people with us today. Olivia Brown is here and kicking. He says ready to go. A good afternoon to everybody else. Charlene Jeffers, what happened to you last week? I don't remember seeing. You clocked in late last week. I don't forget these things. I'm a headmaster. I don't. Over there in Arizona is Kitchen King. Good afternoon to you. And over there in St. James on Nevis, Gemini Nesbitt is sitting down waiting for the show to start. Jessica Lewis down there in St. Thomas USVI. My good friend Neeti, sister-in-law, but she's good. Marna Davis is here with us. So is Gail Greenaway and my good friend Bumpy Moving, the gentle giant from Old Hospital Road. He missed class last week, I think. He didn't show up last week, so, you know, a little detention for you, Bumpy. And
You have to have space to put it in.
you got need a whole room for yourself. Evan Jeffers up in the UK, good afternoon to you. And my friend down there in St. Thomas, my friend for life, who I love very, very much, delicious Nicholas Brown, is in the house. If it's one phone call I will get when things go south with me, is delicious Nicholas Brown. She will always call and check on me, make sure things are copacetic. And so I always appreciate her greatly. Who else did it? Drexel Barton is with us. Good afternoon to Drexel. And up in Judy Cornelius Webb Estate is the lady herself. And she's becoming an internet model these days, I realize. I don't know what's going on with these ladies, you know. They're dressing up and taking pictures. It's almost like they're on Bumble, one of those dating apps, you know. They look so delicious.
So she also have you captivated too?
I'm not saying anything more than, you know, I see the pictures. Jam Forbes is with us, and he is sending happy birthday greetings to his sister Ingrid. Ingrid never told me she's having a birthday, so I don't know if it's today or he done pass or he's coming. So let me know, Jam Forbes, when is your sister's birthday? And Ingrid, she'd be ashamed not to have told me when her birthday is. I don't remember seeing it. And Marcy Yelner, you know, that lovely lady from up there in Government Road. She now resides in Canada, I believe. Good afternoon to you, Marcy. Sharon Stapleton is in the house. Yes. Yeah, she's in the house. Paula Wallace is in the house. Lydia Paris is in the house. Ja Herbalist is in the house. And he said he peeping. Okay, well, I'll take it, whether it's a peep or a glance or whatever it is, I will take it any day of the week. Glad to have you on board. What else do we have? I think that's it for now. I think that's it for now. Yeah. As people come on, we normally would find time.
That's a lot.
But let me say good afternoon to my two co-hosts, Tulu Weeks. Good afternoon to you, Tulu.
Good afternoon, my brother.
All is well?
Bless the Lord.
Bless the Lord himself. And my good friend, Henry Daniel. No death announcement today, Henry?
No, there's a funeral in Brownhill for Jerry from down the road. But,
all right.
Yeah, my condolences to the family. Just to say, Kel, that, you know, someone stopped me a few days ago, sorry. And it's very concerned about the fact that the Premier uses his radio station to cuss us. And he's saying to me, you think I could go and cuss any of my teachers? You crazy? Teachers work, and I never see any rich ones. And when I hear your teacher, Daly was a teacher, now why are you doing? How come all you know respond to him? But you don't want to know why I say it. I say something which is unusual.
What, bad one?
No.
Oh.
I say I have never been involved in preventing braying.
Okay. I'll leave it there.
Leave it at that.
All right.
And just one other thing. I looked at the television and I wonder if the young people of Nevis would want to emulate that. Where the young people in Kenya have come out on the streets to protest the government's failure to provide economic opportunities for them. And you know what they say, Kel? They say, look, we live with our parents, and our parents tell us to support the government 30, 40 years ago. And we don't see the impact on the parents, and we don't want that to happen to us. We want to go college, and we want opportunities, and so we have come to register our disapproval of the government's intention to raise taxes and utilities and all those other things. And something struck me, and I said to myself, I wonder if the young people in Nevis would one day, it is my hope that one day they will take the same kind of approach, since they're all young people growing up.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay. We got quite a bit, so let's get started. Let me first, in the first instance, thank all those who would have graced us with their presence this morning at the breakfast for St. Paul's.
You were not there when I was there.
I went making deliveries.
Oh, you were doing deliveries.
Yes. Somebody got to do it. And so all those who contributed in cash or kind, I thank you graciously. For all those who came and got their free breakfasts, sponsorship, made possible by some generous people who want to remain anonymous. I thank you all very much. And it was a successful breakfast. By 9:30, we were out of there. And my good friend Kevin Wilkin called me around 10 o'clock to say, where's the breakfast? Because I guess he thought he was running late. So he was at the site, and there was no breakfast. And
no sign of any breakfast.
No sign of any breakfast. We already cleaned out and gone. Dishes done, washed, and put back in the cupboard. And so my apologies, Wilkin, because he is one of our donors, and he would have come to, not to beg a breakfast, but to buy on top of what he donated. And so my apologies, my friend, but St. Paul breakfast don't last very long. All right? We started around 7, and by 9:30 we were gone. All right? Wow. Breakfast must mean breakfast, not brunch or dinner or lunch. All right?
Fair enough.
All right, so John Forbes is saying his sister's birthday, Ingrid's birthday was on the 20th. So that was Thursday.
Thursday, yeah.
So happy birthday, Ingrid. And being such a lovely person, I have to sing for you. Or we have to sing for you.
We or I?
We.
Okay.
We all love Ingrid.
Ingrid is a warrior.
So, that's it. Ingrid, my apologies if we missed your birthday on Thursday, but this one is for you, especially for you. So you're the only person celebrating today, and for Thursday. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, happy birthday. Happy birthday to you. And as usual from us in the studio, may you live to be 101, and us 101 minus a day, so we don't have to see you go. May God continue to bless you with good health, strength, and of course, wealth. All right. Loretta Clark saying, my oldest grandson Nate turns 12 today. Boy, Loretta, you've been batting a long time, girl. You got a grandson at 12?
Yeah.
When you started?
Mine, when you ask Loretta when Loretta comes here for Culturama, you will get the answer.
Oh, Lord. Loretta is my girl. I can tell anything. Almost anything. All right. Now, some good news. I found out, I told you I would find out, the Freedom of Information Ordinance that was passed in 2018 has indeed been gazetted, has been signed off by the Deputy Governor General, and so it is indeed law of the land. So you know what this means? You know what this means, right? That I will be taking pen to paper and asking the government to provide information. The only caveat is this. In the legislation, it speaks to a person, right, that should be appointed to be the conduit or commissioner of sorts, to be the conduit of information, right? This law was passed in 2018. That's 6 years ago. It's now being gazetted And we now have to take advantage of it. And if I write to any minister, ask information, whether it's Minister of Public Works, Minister of Tourism, Minister of Finance, whoever it is, and they cannot provide me with what I want because I have not put the mechanism in place to dispense information to me, I will be taking the matter to court. You can bet your last dollar on that. It would not cost me anything. There's a process called judicial review, where the court will demand that the law on the books be enforced, that the law on the books be enacted, or being operationalized. And so I will be coming after them because I want to know how this government is operating on the people's money. Who is getting the contracts? Why are they getting them? Where's the tendering process? All those things. So I will be taking this bull by the horn since somebody else wants to. And I will be writing to the Integrity Commission. I'll be writing to the ministries and whoever else. So next week, I will be busy. And the only bad thing about it, my own little laptop, this morning I tried to start it up. It looked like I have to get some firewood or something to heat it up because it will not budge. So I have to take it to the shop. I hope they will return it quickly so I can get my letters out and get this thing done. It is nonsense what this government is doing, holding back on this freedom of information ordinance passed 6 years ago. And let me tell you something, I'm not a conspiracy nut by no stretch of the imagination. I like facts and figures. But here the thing is, when you see a situation where the government is failing to deliver information, tell yourself there's more in the mortar than the pestle.
Something to hide.
Tell yourself they're hiding something from you. Tell yourself they don't want to be exposed. But the reason why they're passing all these bits of legislation, but not enacting them, not enforcing them, not operationalizing them, is because outside of the Federation of Sinkers and Navies, there are international bodies who are looking to see how democratic your society is. Mm-hmm. And so there's a checklist. Have you passed this? Have you done that? Have you done this one? And so all Brantley and his crew are doing systematically is to check off the list, check off the box. We have done integrity public life, done. Mm-hmm. We have done freedom of information, done. We have done anti-money laundering, done. Mm-hmm. We have done all these things. But are they effective? Are they being enforced? Is the mechanism there to operationalize them? No.
I wouldn't have done it.
No, they're not. And so all they're doing is checking the boxes for those eyes on the outside of Nevis looking and say, man, these guys are good. Mm-hmm. These guys are good.
Is it not also the case to Kel that they assume that nobody in Nevis will be looking and paying attention like the international bodies?
No,
they assume that too, right?
They know that we are paying attention. But if we operationalize it, Daly and Hensley and others are going to come and get the information. We do not want anybody to get this information. Mm-hmm. And so therefore, we put the regulation in place, but the personnel to enforce the regulation is not there. Mm-hmm. So the regulation without the persons are nothing. Is like having regulation governing the police. We establish a police force, but then you make sure that you don't put no police in place. And this is what's taking place here. And you must ask the question why. It's because I have a whole lot to hide. And so therefore, I'm not going to do it.
Well, laws declare your rights, but they don't deliver them. No. They have to be delivered through the mechanisms, through the systems in place. So Kel, based on how things are in Nevis, which one going to be first?
First with what?
No, if you're writing, you want information.
Integrity public life.
Yeah.
And let me put my good friend, Attorney Keynes, on notice. He is the chairman of the Integrity Commission. My first letter will be to him. Mm-hmm. So I'm putting him on notice that I'll be writing seeking information about the Atlantic View Hotel. Mm-hmm. I'll be asking information about declarations. And so get your filing ready because I'll be writing. I will be writing. All right. I am afraid to write.
Also to say, Kel, I mean, you're saying that you're going to write. This is for the wider society.
Everybody, any division, any division, whether you live here or you're in the diaspora, you also can write requesting information.
Exactly, because, for instance, the people in the diaspora, especially those who come home to vote, you should have a particular interest in this. Those who live here and experience the difficulty of living under a government of this nature, you have a responsibility to write. So although Dr. Daly is saying he will write, I just want to underscore the point that all of us in Nevis have a responsibility. And Kel, what would... begin to imagine for a moment 15 persons drop a letter next week. You plus 14.
The impact will be tremendous.
Think about that. Right. I mean, you have 15 people, and they may be writing about 15 different things, you know.
It doesn't matter.
I'm saying, no, it means that all these matters are bothering people.
Of course.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. So, we now have to listen painfully.
Oh. Let me drink some sarsaparilla before.
I could take out my headset.
Next time you come for him to bring, please walk with some Hammond, Kel, for God's sake, okay?
Next time what?
Next time you come to the program and we have to go listen to he. Bring us a little Hammond. Okay,
well, a good friend of mine says it's easier to stay drunk than to get drunk over again. So I might be drunk where I am right now.
I do not look any Hammond to come in here. I do not want any police to come in here to arrest me.
Police took more Hammond than me.
Here what I tell you.
That's a local.
Don't want to go look any Hammond anyway to bring inside here.
Let me say good afternoon to Joan Matthews up there in the UK, and she's saying a pity I can't be there to write. Pity I can't write. And Glendale Hobbit just dropped in, and who else? Arika Swanston, Halstead Byron, my good friend Halstead Byron, is in the house.
Suti
Halstead, only one Halstead, the great Halstead Byron.
Most people don't know his name is Halstead.
All right. So the first tape we're listening to is this one.
Viewing it from my vantage point as Premier of Nevis, looking at our economic options and our capacity to expand our economy, I know that we need people. I know that we need people. When I can sit with, say, one of the call center operators and hear him say that he's struggling to attract workers to the point where he's now bringing workers. I think he specified Dominica, for example, where he said he's finding workers to come. It suggests to me that we need people.
Here's my problem, gentlemen. The Premier, in my view, is setting us up. He's setting us up. He's saying that the economy is so good in Nevis that the call center in Brown Hill needs workers. There's another similar operation here on Nevis that has 98% Nivision employed, if not 98, 99%. I'm not trying to say that non-Nivisians are not invited to work, but again, the Premier is laying the groundwork for us to say, listen, we have we got good employment numbers. It's so good that we have to bring in workers from Dominica. That's not the truth.
Foolishness.
That's not the truth.
Foolishness.
Right? We have 300 school leavers coming out this summer. Right? But yet, permission is being given to import workers from the region. No, this is nonsense. My position is this. Right? Look within your borders first to make sure you can fill those slots. But another problem, when I heard the word Dominica and call center, you must understand something, you know. Dominica's minimum wage is about $5. So you're bringing in workers and underpaying them in Nevis, while the other similar operation in Nevis is paying a third more than above normal minimum wage. And they have total medical coverage. They have benefits. So it's a matter of how you treat people Divisions are not going to be underpaid and working them kind of hours there. No. And so, what the Premier is giving carte blanche support to is for persons to come in here to work for minimum wage or below.
Well, the other issue, Kelly, is this. If you're the Premier of the country, your job clearly must be to equip the society to be able to take advantage of all employment opportunities. So by saying people come from Dominica is a classic case of failure.
Of course.
You are the Premier of the country. You can't say that we have X number of people trained to do computer science, what have you. That is your work. So if you got to resort now to people overseas in such a small population, I mean, this is crazy.
That's the call. Good afternoon, on target.
Good afternoon, everybody on the panel.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
The first opening statement here is a man make that something working in Africa with people standing up. You think it news people don't stand up to government. When we have we marching down here more than once, we start about 3 o'clock and we done 7. That day not supposed to stand up on the road. I want to see and live to see if the people think they need with young people who coming up when they raise the pension, social security money at the age. I want to see if they ain't going to stand up because I see on television a country standing up for that.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that Mark and Mr. Joe take the money in the treasury belongs to them. I think so. Because they're coming around when they're campaigning and asking you for work for them, begging you for work for them. When they get in the office, they is the boss. They take over. They hire you and pay you anything. But when they may want to raise, come again, just take it so. It looks so to me. So I hear people all week think it's a we're talking about 15% raise or what they take something up in Nevis or something so. They take down here, they take up a Nevis. I don't understand what's going on, no. When politicians out of office, they care for the people, but when they're going, they don't care. They don't care at all. Something wrong, man. Something wrong. They want to come millionaire when they leave office. And the people, some people must beg them when they see them. All the music festival, man, when come here, somebody might beg up. And that they want. And that they want people beg them. So we put money in the people and let people work. And give them money. They start bringing people as well. You say they want to bring in people. Let the Penn Division and Kitty show no work. When they bring them in a vote, they want them vote for them. And that's what happens. That's everybody can put on you know.
That's the key.
When they bring in them people, that member carry come and carry this and that, all kind of something, and Caribbean people do this free movement. That's how they got in place is to get them to vote. Oh, all right, all the best.
Thank you, sir.
You know.
And the caller is right. That is the key. That was here thinking that when I heard the utterance of the little boy, I told myself, no, this is a political ploy. This is a way to bring, because he understood clearly that the people of Nevis would have turned away from him from the last election that they hijacked. And so he's looking for a new base. And so this is the base, and you know his utterances that NRP do not like non-nationals. He's bringing them to pack them up and pit them against us. That is what it's all about.
Let's take this call. Good afternoon, on target.
Good afternoon, Dr. Daly.
Good afternoon
to Tulu, and good afternoon to Mr. Daniel.
Good afternoon.
Interesting topic, Dr. Daly. Bragging about the call center, bringing in people here from Dominica, is not a good thing. It's atrocious. I worked with the call center that was here some years ago. And back then, the people here in Nevis were getting paid far less than their counterpart offices around the U.S. and the rest of the world. Why should this be? What it tells me is that our leaders don't care about Nevisians. And we're here. It's in our best interest that Nevisians stay and continue to build the country. Not for them to have to leave because they can't find a job or they can't find a job that pays well enough, while others come in and take that same far less paying job. And the people that are there running those call centers, what do they have to lose? They come in, they rent a building, they bring in a couple of computers, and they carry on their business. And if overnight something happens, they flip the switch and they're gone. You wake up tomorrow morning, you don't even know that they've left. Right? Well, we're here left to hold the peace in our hands. So what is this really? We should be bragging about a call center that's paying well and supporting our people. This is quite interesting because I see a lot of the people that used to work at the call center when I was there managing the call center. And I asked them, well, have you gone back to the call center? Are you back at the call center? And they say, who, me, not me. We not go up there. And it tells me a lot about what's happening there right now. Why would people who took years of in a well-trained job not want to go back to that place to work or not want to go back to that environment to work? And that's the way these companies are all across the world. Tomorrow, you might hear, if we're lucky enough, that there may be 3 or 4 or 5 other call centers that want to come here. Quite frankly, I don't think that we're doing a good enough job when we go out there to attract the people to come here and bring the jobs here. So what is it that we're really bragging about? That the Dominicans want to come and the Haitians want to come? The Dominicans and the Haitians are well trained. They go wherever they can get work when they can't find it in their country. And I mean, I don't fault them for that. What about our people though? Our people should be able to find work here. And we should be able to go out there and attract hotels, attract call centers, attract whatever the businesses that will help grow our economy and our country. This is really, really sad. It's not good.
Thank you.
It's really not good.
All right.
Have a good afternoon.
All right. I find it interesting that he focused on the fact that we need workers. He said it. We need workers.
With so many unemployed people.
Right. But no, that's not the point I was trying to get to. Most persons in leadership position will say, we need investors.
Exactly.
We need investors. We need to attract investors to provide work for the hundreds of our school leavers, to keep those people here, to keep them supporting their families and build a life here. But we are exporting people at a faster rate than any time in our history, except after World War II. Right? Because this government here, has not done enough to attract investors, and the man said it himself. He said, I've done everything possible under the sun. And they come and they promise they're going to come back and they don't come back.
They run from him.
And so he's talking a whole different language now about workers. There are enough workers in Nevis. A lot of people are sitting home unemployed. But you have to pay them to work the while. You can't expect a man to go up to working them kind of hours in a call center, being harassed from callers all over the world, and sit there for 8 hours, and at the end of the week, you can't even make ends because you're at minimum wage. And you're being, it is not a good environment. The caller is right. It's not a good environment. If it was a good environment, people would have gone. The turnover rate up there among divisions is high. High. Right? And so the Premier feels he can look the other way, let these workers come in, convince them NRPs against foreigners. In 9 months, 10 months, 11 months, 12 months, they can vote, they can get the voters card, and we're back to square one.
It's a voting ploy.
Isn't it? Someone of you mentioned that about the 300 school leavers who are leaving school this month, or by the first week in July, school closes. But Kel, those from last year have not been employed. So these here going to meet up those from last year and perhaps from the year before. So you have a government that has a pool of people in the country who are not employed, young people, and you're saying you are workers, and you rightly said what you should be speaking to is to say to investors, look, can you invest in X? We have this skill set for X. And if you're investing in this, we have the skill set. But you haven't trained the people, you haven't prepared the people, so what do you expect?
Who honest investor is going to want to have any dealing with this leader and this administration?
Let me ask another question. When the Premier said he needs workers, I have another question for you, Mr. Premier. Workers in what industry?
Yeah.
In what industry are you need workers?
Call center.
So that's an industry? That's an industry?
For him.
I mean,
and it's big.
When you say you want workers,
agriculture.
What industry are you bringing them to work in?
Exactly.
Call center.
What industry are you bringing them to work in?
He told you, call center.
Let's take this call. Good afternoon, on target.
Dr. Daly, our track record with investors are not good. Look at the mess that we're in right now with MSR. And you think the rest of the world is not watching? So who are we really going to attract? Right? The other thing is that we've been doing, and this is good, huh? But we've been doing a lot of training seminars to prepare our people. If you look at the news, there's some kind of training going on in tourism, in hospitality, in different things, in agriculture. Who is training the people that are going out there looking for the investors? Are they trained? And could that be the problem?
So who's training the trainer? Okay.
You understand what I'm saying?
Of course.
So perhaps they need to hold some training programs for themselves.
I think they just need to go.
To upgrade. Well, that too. But the thing is, something is very wrong when we can't attract investors to come in here and bring business to our country.
That's true.
Something is very, very wrong.
All right. Thank you very much.
One of the things that is very, very wrong is the character of the person who is the top of the ladder. I mean, when you look at him, look at all the investors that he claimed that he would have invited to Nevis and would have done something in Nevis. According to those people, has a rap sheet behind them. Okay, starting with what be First Fidelity, whatever their name, that took Jonathan Christenberry $2.5 million, which he never got back. When you investigate and you look, come down the line, down to Mr. MSR man. Rap sheep. Look at everybody who he said that he came and sat with and offered everything and then walk away from the table. I guarantee you that those persons are decent individuals with no baggage behind them. And they recognize that this individual is an individual that we cannot work with because he's going to tarnish our reputation. And so they walk away to preserve their reputation.
All right. Well, we're moving on because we got quite a bit to go. Here's another one. So close your ears if you don't want to listen.
You asked about the broiler project. I really do not have an update, but I assure you the next time I come back, I hope to have an update. I did not speak to the minister prior to coming here.
You really tell that to true?
Yeah, but you need to play it to show the absolute.
He said the same thing in the last press conference, that I have not spoken to the minister. Why aren't the ministers seated at this press conference? So he can say, okay, Mr. Evelyn, you're the Minister of Agriculture. Could you give an update?
He cannot do it.
Okay.
Look, fellas,
I'll tell you the reason why he cannot do it. Last year, he said to us, the boiler project didn't start because the minister was tied up with Culturama. And as soon as Culturama is over, we're going to hear from the minister. You heard anything from the minister? Now, this is the 50th anniversary, the biggest anniversary that they would have been investing in. You think you won't hear anything from minister? This gentleman believes that the people of Nevis are a bunch of idiots, and he right to speak to us the way that he speaks to us because we make him believe that we are a bunch of fools. We accept his nonsense. We don't push back against him with his foolishness.
Who is we?
The people of Nevis. By large measure.
We
don't kick up no storm.
But just to share something, fellas, you know, the people of Nevis Kel, you need to wonder if there's cabinet meeting and all that kind of things, you know? Because as far as I know, you're a member of a cabinet once a week, most times. Hardly a week passes only if the one or two of the ministers are away, or we rescheduling things. Or sometimes you say, look, let's not have the meeting until we have things ready. And you actually report, you go around the table. And so the agriculture minister, what's up in the ministry? The health ministry, what's up?
Do you really think that he didn't know the answer to the question?
Of course he knew.
Okay.
Of course he knew.
All right.
No, that's what I'm saying. If you are saying you didn't know, it means that you deliberately did not know. And of course the Ivor Stevens rule.
He knows.
The Ivor Stevens rule applies.
Yeah, I don't even need Ivor Stevens for this. He knew, he's the Minister of Finance, no money has been allocated for this project. So, you know, this is a no-brainer. He did not want to answer the question. And so he said that stupidness that he need an update from the minister. Update to say. That we have, anyway. Here's another one.
Maybe they should have asked you. It would have been better to tell them.
Here's another one.
We're now therefore at the third phase, which is to find more water. I believe that the experts might debate how the staging should have been done and how the phasing should have been done. But we opted to go with storage, distribution, and then when we find more water, we have distribution already in place. To my first big, we have signed an agreement to my first big. I want to announce that the cabinet has determined that there should be a salary increase for parliamentarians here in Nevis.
What is going on here?
On around the 22nd day of...
Sorry. Let me go back again because that one skipped over.
The water.
We're now therefore at the third phase, which is to find more water. I believe that the experts might debate how the staging should have been done and how the phasing should have been done. But we opted to go with storage, distribution, and then when we find more water, we have the storage and distribution already in place for that additional water.
Okay. Now, you know, there's nothing worse than a conceited person.
Yeah.
There's nothing worse than an arrogant, conceited person. There's nothing worse than a narcissistic, arrogant, conceited person. You understand? Because he's now saying, oh, some experts say that you should have gone the other way, meaning wells, storage, and then distribution. But he's doubling down on his own sequence that he's going to build storage first, do the distribution, and the wells come last. And this is why we are in the predicament we are in, because you have a man who cannot accept that he's a fool. Cannot accept it. This is beyond the pale. Most men I know who make colossal mistakes, they say, listen, I'm sorry. I made a boo-boo.
Look, one of them.
I apologize.
One of them say made
we got it wrong.
A $10 million mistake.
All right? And so you have a situation where this man is doubling down. I say, he right. He right. Now they have tanks built. They got distribution lines and no water in the tanks because they ain't got no wells. How can this make any sense to anybody with one brain cell in the head? Yeah? My friend Zook, I know over there in St. James, he probably got one brain cell. I'm sure he can say, boy, mark it wrong, if he had the balls to do it. And so he now come in and say, the people in Trinidad should be here in a couple of weeks, and the first well is going to be over there in St. James, and then in camps, to be specific, then Maddens, another one in Maddens, and then Bridges. And so what we are seeing is a flailing, a man flailing his arms, trying to grasp straws, because he has fundamentally let down the people of Nevis in the most essential part of their life, which is water. He has failed miserably at that. And so here we are. Failure again, over and over again. And he's still going and gives himself a praise on failure. But we're going to get to the praise.
The Premier's utterance on water is another glaring reminder of election has consequences. And it's because we made poor decision from day one in electing him into political office, from the time he ran in a by-election until this moment, we made a terrible choice, because this young man has demonstrated from the beginning that he began to talk about politics, that his number one and the best thing that he can do is to curse people. We know that Sissy Amanda Van Samuel got a hiding from him. He was one of the antagonists who said to the people of the world that Van Samuel was leading an administration that was fast asleep, was doing nothing, that he wanted to dethrone Van Samuel. He was an individual who would say to you, me am voting for Sissy, me am voting for Malcolm, and did not vote. And then we still turn around and say, vote for me, I'll do this for Malcolm after Malcolm died. And we study him.
Let's go. Good afternoon, on target.
Good afternoon. What work Marcus to do before you go into politics?
Nothing.
Lawyer.
He was a lawyer.
But since he wants some more money, why you never say a lawyer? They come out from lawyer, they come out from doctor, they come out from accountant, and to go into politics. Just to believe they could outsmart him by the people. If they want so much money and like so much money, why they not stop in the office and do the business? And let somebody else run government and go in the office. Because it's about just money, you know. It's just money. It's about right now with these man. And people teaching up to now until body. You understand teachers, if more teachers get, I understand, it's up to 4,000 with a month. When a man going to get 20,000 not to do nothing. and 30,000 and 30,000 and all that kind of money that a politician get. The teachers should stop teach. And it's too bad because teachers make politicians, teachers make lawyers, teachers make everything.
Everybody.
So why teachers supposed to get the lowest pay?
You got
and points and all that get more than teacher? And something wrong in this place, yeah?
It's a big point. Big point.
All right. Thank you very much.
It's a big point. It's, gentlemen, when the callers make these kinds of incisive points, the caller makes a big point.
But the thing about it, when Brantley started out for politics, it was not about money for him. It was about power. He wanted power.
We want to bring the other.
Now that he has gotten the power, he has moved to the second step, is to make money. And right now, ethics and moral means nothing to him. The only thing that matters to him is money.
Okay, let's move on because we got a lot more to go. Here's another one.
We also would have reported that we're working on a desalination plant. Drilling is expected to resume by the end of this week. We had regrettably to halt work as repairs had to be done on the drill rig. I'm told those are now complete. The roof of the pump house has been poured and the site for the solar panels is being prepared. Installation of the pumping equipment is expected to start in another 2 weeks.
Okay. Now here is it. The Premier is talking about continuing to work on the desalination plant, despite of all, or in spite of all the conversations we've had about the environmental impact of desalination on the near-shore fisheries environment, the impact on our coastal areas, and the fact that this desalination water is different to the well water, but will be added to the distribution system to mix in with the well water. I have a difficulty with that because it's not the same water. When you have desalination going on, they strip out a lot of the essential minerals because it's what you call a reverse osmosis. Things are stripped out and other things have to be added. You understand? So it's not the same water. Farmers, for example, they might have a difficulty.
Too much salt.
So the issue is, why are we embarking on a desalination plant, continuing down that road, and a lot of the issues regarding the impact on people's lives, the impact on our environment, have not been studied? This is the same man who said he voted and he will continue to vote against the fuel storage depot because of environmental concerns. That a drop of fuel, one drop of fuel into the ocean is too much for him. But here is he, getting prepared to dump tons of salt into the ocean, near shore, in bottlers.
Killing the
and we should not be concerned about that. I would have expected him to come to this press conference and not simply mention the fact that the process the plant is resuming construction, but to allay the fears of the public that, listen, this is the data, this is the information, this is the environmental impact assessment, this is what we were doing, so don't worry about it. I expected that, not simply to resume conversations about the plant resuming construction. That doesn't solve the anxiety. It doesn't soothe the anxiety of those of us who think environmentally. It does not. And so these press conferences, I don't know why he bother having them for. I really don't know.
If you don't have anything to say. You know, as I listen to these 4 things here, Kel, I remember the shortest verse in the Bible. As you say, you don't want you come out to say you will not ever want to see an oil storage depot, but you want to see an environmental disaster virtually as a result of these plants. And there is something about the quality of the water. But you said something, Kelly. You said you expected him to come. Are you joking?
No, I didn't say I expected him to come.
Oh.
It would have been good for him.
Oh, okay.
To come and tell the people, listen, I've listened to the concerns. I've listened to the
can't do that.
The queries, and with me is the lady who generated the EIA for that project, Miss Blah Blah Blah, and you can ask her any question, and she will answer you to the best of her abilities. Over to you, madam. Right? If I was to ask a question, I would want to know at what concentration is that salt, that brine being discharged back into the ocean? Is it being diluted first, or is it being discharged directly as the salt is built up in the container tanks? I would want to know little things. Is there any monitoring of the coral life around that area of discharge to make sure there is no impact? I would want to know whether any study has been done to show the flow of currents north and south, east and west, away from that dump site, to see the impact. Brine is heavier than seawater, so it will sink. And when it sinks, where is it sinking to? To the coral at the bottom.
Of course.
And then it spreads out with the current. I would want to know what study have they done, not onshore study, in-sea study, to show the movement of this material through our water column in the sea. I'm a wannabe fisherman. I love the sea. I love everything about the sea. And this is not a time to be playing hokey pokey with it. It's difficult as it is already with our near shore fisheries. It is difficult enough already in our fishermen whose livelihoods are already depleted. And you can't be playing Russian roulette with this.
But Kel, you mentioned some weeks ago on this same program that we virtually have a problem of depletion of our fishing resources and overfishing. So now, when you put this brine in the you are intending to make life even more difficult for the fishermen, aren't you?
Of course you are.
Okay.
Moving on from that.
Can I ask you a
question? Sure, go ahead.
The Premier of Navies, the present Premier, in all of his utterances, has he ever said anything to the Navision public, whether home or abroad, that really makes sense?
No, he hasn't.
Okay.
But and the funny thing is, he was in Canada recently to accept an award or to give a speech at Canada or some kind of benevolent organization in Canada. And by the way, congratulations to Vaughan Anslin for being recognized for his great work in art. I would want a person in the diaspora who I would rate as probably more environmentally conscious. Because in the US, in the UK, Canada, even within down the USVI, BVI, there's a whole, movement to protect the environment. People are very sensitive.
Aggressive movement.
People are very sensitive about the environment that we live in. And I would think that one of the questions to be asked of the Premier next time they see him in a press conference, where he's brushing past and say, "Oh, we have desalination." I would hope those persons ask him a hard question. How will that plant impact the environment? Where is it studied to validate that nothing will go wrong? That is what I would want them to ask him. All right? Since they are in the enlightened countries of the world. All right?
And also, Kel, if they see they are able, you mentioned them, but they are also able to report to environmental disasters in their various countries, things that have gone very, very wrong. So they can bring that experience to bear on the process here in Nevis.
Exactly. All right. What I find too often, there are too many bootlickers. There are too many bootlickers. And all kind of liquors that simply brush these things aside. You and I, they would hold accountable. But the premier gets a pass.
Big time.
Because, he's the premier and, I vote in blue and blah, blah, blah. And you wonder, these are some of the same people that would take you to task. They would take their pastor to task. They would take the ombudsman to task, the policeman to task, the mayor to task, the governor to task, the president to task. But a little pian premier from Nevis, he's one of us. Give me a break. Everybody must be held accountable. You put yourself up for election, you win your seat, you win your government, work and do the people's work. That's all I got to say on that. Moving on. One more.
Oh, Lord.
No, two more actually.
Jesus continues to weep too. I feel like Jeremiah.
Where do I go next? Fair share. Here he's on fair share.
CBI revenue on the fair share issue. I do not have a report on that. My last meeting with the Honorable Prime Minister, he has promised that we will meet to discuss and finalize that. In fact, it is an agenda item for us on the next joint cabinet. We should have had that joint cabinet already. Regrettably, through travel and availability, we are having some issues finalizing a date, but I know that the two cabinet secretaries are working on that. And I am hopeful that we certainly will be able to come back this year with an announcement in relation to that, because I reflected that the very first letter that I wrote to the Honorable Prime Minister Drew, which is his first day at work as Prime Minister of this country, that I raised that as the #1 issue. And that was almost 2 years ago. So August is going to make 2 years. And so he has given me a reassurance that the matter is attracting the correct attention, and I intend to follow with him on that so that we can bring some resolution to that vexed question for the people of St. Kitts and for the people of Nevis.
Yeah, hold on, Henry. Hold your horses. Let me ask this question. Have you ever heard such BS? Have you ever heard such rubbish?
No.
Listen. Let me pull up my chair a little bit here. Because I want to run in a long one with that one here.
Come on, folding.
I got to run in long from the pavilion end with this one.
Folding on the long run.
Right? Because right now, where's the premier?
In Taiwan with the Prime Minister.
Where's the Foreign Minister?
In Taiwan.
With the Minister. With the Prime Minister.
Yes.
And other cabinet members are also there in Taiwan.
The cabinet secretary for the federal government is in Taiwan.
Is in Taiwan.
The ambassador of Taiwan is in Taiwan.
So when he's talking about he is going to wait for a joint cabinet meeting, who in the NIA cabinet besides Mark Brantley to make decisions? Who in the NIA cabinet besides Mark Brantley determines what goes on? Who in there dares to stand up to him with anything on any matter? None of them. Not Troy, not Nesbitt, not my name, Brand.
They didn't come for you.
None of them. And so he has all he needs right in Taiwan to have a sidebar meeting of the general purpose of the meeting. They have these all the time.
Yeah,
you go to these meetings, and there's a meeting within the meeting. Of course. To say, listen, this is your fair share. I am here, you are here, Dougie is here, all the essential people are here. Let us have a meeting. Let us have a meeting. You don't have to come back from a joint cabinet meeting between Eric, the dancer, the walk-upist, and the rest of them to solve what problem?
No.
What contribution can they make to this discussion?
Look,
it's vexing that the premier's coming with all this garbage and talk about, oh, we're going to wait for a joint cabinet meeting. You said you wrote to the man 2 years ago. That's the first letter you wrote 2 years ago. If you are doing your job as the leader of the opposition, if you are doing your job as the leader of the opposition, you will be talking this garbage. Because you got him in parliament and said, Mr. Prime Minister, I wrote to you 2 years ago on this matter, this vexing matter from Nevis.
You know.
And you have done nothing. No, but you can't do it.
But gentlemen,
I'm sorry to
No, that's okay. That's okay. But all
I tell you, I'm gonna get a long run. Right?
No, I am not even going to. I am going to say one thing. This is yet another ploy, because the same premier was in a government with Dr. Harris for 7 years, and that fair share was one of the main issues directing the elections, influencing the elections of 2015. All I'm saying, if he had any interest in bringing any fair share to Nevis, it would have been done already. And this is just another ploy. He has no interest in it. It has been used to galvanize support in the 2015 elections, and it is 7 years he spent with Harris as a leading member of the cabinet. And if he did not do it then, why would we expect that he's going to do it now? I don't expect anything.
Two things in my mind.
We missed the boat.
Based on what he said. The premier is boasting about joint Caribbean cabinet meetings. I know for a fact that there were joint cabinet meetings between the Parry-led administration and the Dr. Denzel Douglas administration.
Yes.
And that those meetings were frowned on by Mark Brantley and CCM. They were not supposed to happen. But now he is boasting about joint cabinet meetings. So while Parry was the premier of Nevis, there should have been no joint cabinet meetings. But because he is the premier of Nevis, there's supposed to be cabinet meetings. The second thing for me is this.
The issue
is that if something is important to you, dear to your people, and you wrote a letter to the Prime Minister 2 years ago and the Prime Minister hasn't responded, what do you think to do? Call the Prime Minister, said to me, listen, I have wrote the Prime Minister in the last 2 years 20 times or 10 times or 15 times on this matter. You wrote in one letter, no response from the Prime Minister, and you sit down upon your butt and do nothing? He has no interest.
Harris said it was never raised.
Let us take this call.
In cabinet, it was never raised. What are we burning up energy over it for? He's not interested in it.
Good afternoon, you're on target.
He's not interested.
Where she have to come from? The passport, I think it's a Nevis. They shouldn't make that to ask for it. Nevis shouldn't get that to ask for no money. Money should just come to Nevis. If the passport money will ask Mark think it's a Nevis, the money should go to you.
That's true.
The Nevis their own.
All right, thank you for that.
Now we are one.
All right, thank you.
This all kind of different people have the money. The Nevis the money.
I hear that. Thank you, sir.
There's another issue here, though, for me. I am all for Nevis to get its fair share, whatever it is. The problem that I have, the administration, beginning with Harris, down to Dr. Jew, would have placed in the hands of the Nevis Island administration, which is now led by Mark Brantley, over $600 million. And we cannot see nothing of worth for that $600 million. Plus we are in what, $600 million worth of debt, or $500 million? Over $1 billion has been trusted to this man's hand. And we cannot see nothing of real worth for it. Give him more, put more money in his hand. What are you going to do with it?
Yes. Well, I ain't going to argue about that part of it, why you're going to squander it or not. The argument, the position on the table right now is one of inaction, one of disappointing inaction, because you can't tell me that I wrote to you 2 years ago.
2 years ago.
And you have not followed up. You're still waiting for a response of the Prime Minister. You have not broached the idea in Parliament. You have not objected to the position in Parliament. You have not got up in the Parliament here in Nevis, your own NIA assembly, and you have not said a thing. For 2 years you have not said anything. 2 budgets passed. You now bring up the idea of fair share, and the letter you wrote to Dr. Drew. All right? Dr. Drew came out and said, the World Bank is doing the study. We have said on this platform, you don't need the World Bank. We have people with enough expertise to do it.
But he was of that opinion when Harry said the very same thing.
Well, whatever it is, the point is, you can't tell me you're going all the way to Taiwan on the same damn plane, going to the same hotel rooms, in the same conference tables, and you want to say, boy, fellas, this is a good time to sit down and talk.
No.
I would have done that. You'd have done that. Henry would have done that. Because it only makes sense.
Of course. Because
you must recognize that the people they have in the NIA cabinet are of no moment. They have no moment. It's bumps on a log. You know when you get a piece of old wood, we got bumps on it? There's nuts. That's what we have. Bumps on a log.
So the premier is the log and the others are the bumps?
I don't know what he be. But they got bumps.
But then, it was not long ago when I think for the Queen, the King inauguration, when both he and the Prime Minister, he was boasting that he and the Prime Minister met in England over coffee, over drink or something.
Yes, exactly. And they talked about all kind of things. They had the picture now posted. He and the Prime Minister having coffee.
So how come for 2 years he hasn't had a discussion on this most vexing issue for him as fair share for Nevis?
There's no shortage of opportunity to meet with the Prime Minister. He is just not interested. Kel expressed the word. The inaction, he has no interest. I am of the view that he has no interest. When these things come up, you find a way to dance around the matters. I am insisting that if you won an election and a fair share, and 7 years pass and you don't do it, and now 2 more years pass, and so from 2015, okay, let's say 2014 they came up with this idea for fair share, because the elections were February 2015. So you're 10 years into this, and you were the minister inside the government for 7, and we here talking about, oh, he's looking for fair share. He has no interest.
But
he has no interest.
Listen to this, gentlemen.
In the meantime, however, let me say that we have continued to receive a monthly amount from the CBI proceeds of some 5.5 million EC dollars. That was the amount that we were receiving prior. And in addition to that amount, the Prime Minister has made certain funds available to the NIA representing 25% of sums that his office were receiving from Taiwan for various projects. And that 25% has allowed us to fund the MGR Park and the additions that we're seeing there. And this year has allowed us to fund all the improvements that we're doing for Culturama. Remember, the improvements are not only at the cultural village and cultural complex, but also at NEPAC, where we had to fix the roof, install new air conditioning, new sewage facilities and the like. So I will say that the relationship in terms of the financial arrangements has been bettered by that amount.
All right, let me take another half, a 20 meter run up on this one.
You mean take some hammer?
The Premier said he did not. Did you hear him? Did I stop the tape too early? You know, the tape will continue, and he says he did not know that the Taiwanese were donating money to the Federation until Dr. Drew stepped forward and called him and said, "Listen, you got 25% of this money here for you." Yeah. He said he did not know.
He said it already.
And he said that he, despite being in the team of the government as foreign minister,
yes,
that he did not know.
7 years.
My brother,
7 years.
Any one of you out there who believe this malarkey, I got a bridge in Brooklyn to tell you. It is impossible unless the man is a total waste of time. But hear me out. He said he did not know. He did not know. I guess he was in the yard from since 2007 to 2024. And so he did not know that the ROC Taiwan was giving the federal government money. Well, isn't the federal money, the federal government, the conduit to which grants and contributions from international organizations and countries pass?
And you're the foreign minister?
You're the foreign minister.
Come on.
You're the foreign minister. How can you not know? How can you not know that money? Listen, when the Taiwanese give money to the federal government, and you see the government out there shaking their hand and say, thank you very much, you never ask the question, well, how much of that for Nevis?
No.
You never ask, well, shouldn't we get 25% of that?
No.
When I was at CFBC, the Taiwanese have a scholarship fund there to help students at CFBC. And when I looked at the list of students who were being given scholarships,
that one,
he had about 2 divisions out of 200 and about 100 and something students. 2 divisions.
Yeah.
I took the time to go through and see that this was unfair. And I said to my registrar, change this. Change this. We must have representative numbers in the scholarships for division students.
Yeah.
It's only fair. And you know what she said to me? Oh my God, Dr. Daly, me not realize, you know? So you make them aware of situation, because sometimes people just don't take it into the heart. But you should ask the question, when the federal government gets money from foreign government, where's Nevis share? And for 7 years you were the Minister of Finance, Foreign Affairs, and you never asked the question?
WHO,
come on.
UNICEF.
I'm sorry I missed the call. You can call back, because when I'm on my run, I can't stop. You know,
no, but
second thing, before I forget my chain of thought. Forget me. All right? Now, I want to read something to you, real quick, real fast, because I have it on my WhatsApp message, here. Here it is. Section 5, revenue by source of funds. This is the federal government estimates for 2023. This is what they go into Parliament. He was there. He voted on it. Let me take this call. Good afternoon, you're on target.
Dr. Daly?
Hi.
When you're out in the yard, you don't know what's going on in the house.
True.
Hello? So that's the excuse as to why he doesn't know. But the thing is, you ever heard of this, Doctor? I know you've heard of this, Dr. Daly. When you remain silent, when you remain silent, you create doubt. When you open your mouth and speak, you remove all doubt. And every time this gentleman opens his mouth, he gives himself away. This all makes absolutely no sense, as you said. Even on the plane, the flights to Taiwan are what, 12 hours, 16 hours?
Long haul.
Much longer than you would have spent in a meeting, in a cabinet meeting, right? So what really is the excuse? And I have a question, Dr. Daly. I don't know if you can help me. So every application that goes in for the citizenship program goes through an office in St. Kitts and it's processed. Do they not keep track of how many of those are for Nevis? And could that be a way of where they can dispense funds based on the number of applications that have come through and been approved for Nevis?
But that was part of the Charleston Accord. That was part of the agreement that they signed.
Okay.
That the passports possessed in Nevis will remain, the funds will come to Nevis. That was part of the agreement.
The Charleston Accord has all those things.
So what is the problem then? Why Nevis can't get its money? But you know what, Dr. Daly, I have a question. Is it that Nevis can't get its money, or Nevis has not reached out to get its money in the proper way?
I think the latter is correct.
Sometimes we have an attitude that people are supposed to come to us, huh?
Yeah.
And so when you sit back and wait, people sit back and wait and watch you.
That's true.
And this is what I believe, this is the bigger issue to all of these issues here. But it's not good. Nevis, what can you say at this point that you've done to change things from how they used to be before when you can't get anything done.
Okay. Thank you very much.
But Kelly,
Thank you.
just for one thing, just want to underscore what the caller was saying. Did we not hear Dr. Harris say that this whole Charleston Accord and fair share was never once brought to the cabinet?
He said it.
Didn't Dr. Harris say that?
Let me continue. Let me continue. This is from this document on my phone. Is a screenshot of the estimate from St. Kitts, their federal presentation for 2021, 2022. All right. And it says revenue by source of funds. Revenue summary by source of funds. Mark Brantley would have a copy of the estimates document during the parliamentary debate.
Of course.
To vote on whether he agrees with or disagrees with the budget. Source of funds. Development aid. List the amount. 13,888,021. This is 2020 for 2021. For 2022, 15,490,202. For 2023, projected 25,616. It's there in the budget. You never look to the budget, Mr. Brantley, and say, well, all this, let me get a great topic right. All this development aid that's coming in, development aid means coming from outside the country. Friendly governments, institutions, organizations are donating to the federal government. Mr. Bradley, you never took a look at the budget and asked, well, of all those millions, what happened to Nevis one?
He looked, but he did not ask a question.
These donors, these organizations, unless given special leeway, donate directly to the federal government with the expectation that they will share it with Nevis. That is general
They're
purpose.
not getting into the internal thing.
No.
The country.
It's what,
no, Kelly's interest.
I'm wondering under what rock.
No, in a living in a rock, you don't care. No rock. You don't have the people of Nevis and the well-being and improvement of the quality of lives of the Nevis people was never part of your agenda.
But we put it bluntly.
Never.
When he said that he did not know, he lied. He was telling a lie. He knew.
I don't know, but I don't expect. The difference with me, gentlemen, is that I do not expect anything from the Premier. I don't see how a blank cassette, I don't see how somebody who don't know nothing can be put in charge of a country to do anything. But none of us in Nevis ever see him do anything yet. None of us. None of us ever see him do anything yet. None of us could say he run this, he run that, and he did X or Y. You could have said that with Premier Parry. Okay? You couldn't say that. And so when he comes and make a total mess of Nevis, what do we expect?
Let me tell you something.
Come on.
If you are a parliamentarian, if you're a legislator, you must know the bills you're passing, you must know them intimately, you must know what's in your budget. Because your signature in approval, you are giving your approval to these things.
Of course.
And so I got suspicious when he said he did not know about this donor funds from ROC.
He knew.
And the first thing I said, it must be in the estimates. And I went back to the estimates online in the St. Kitts government, and it's there, big and bold.
But he knew.
You just take a little time to look for it, you're going to find it. Right? It took me about half hour to scroll through all those documents, and I found what I was exactly looking for. Come on. This is too much. This is amateur hour by the Premier to say he did not know.
I'm glad you know.
Eh? You're in government 20 damn years and you don't know?
There's a difference, Kel, there's a difference between 20 years and 1 year's experience 20 times. And that is what he is. 20 years means you grow, you develop, you familiarize yourself with all the issues in government, and you come prepared to help people. This is 1 year's experience 20 times. That's all it is.
This guy has a track record of saying he don't know. He was with First Fidelity. He is the one who said that he was a director in the company, one of 4 directors in the company. And then when the company was cited for fraud, he said he did not know what the company was doing. He was in a government for 7 years.
Okay.
And let me quote him here for a second. let me quote him here for a second. Harris is a genius as the Prime Minister. St. Kitts and Nevis was in good hand. We were satisfied the way that our country was managed. Okay? We went down a little further. Harris' leadership was miraculous. Under Harris' leadership, our country was again in good hands. Under Harris' leadership, our country had done well, better than everybody else, and made us proud. Under Harris, we were the best in class. I commend Prime Minister Harris, his finance team, his cabinet members for their for being open and transparent, because the cabinet members participated in the budget decision leading up to the completion of the budget. So he was involved in all of that. Harris is a caring leader. And then this very same man is going to tell you that he knows nothing that went on in the cabinet. He was out in the yard. This is 2021. Top 10 everything that went on in the cabinet. Praising Harris as the best leader that we have ever had. And then this, should I call him rascal? Let me not say that. But this honorable gentleman turned around and said to us that he knew nothing about what took place in the cabinet. He was out in the yard. And so we have MSR situation came out. And he said, listen, I was out in the yard. But he knows that he was in the cabinet who signed off on this, all the confusion, but he knows what going. Listen, this man is a classic con man. Anyway, it's left to the people to understand this is an absolute con man. He's trying to pull a con job on us.
Let me tell you this. We got one more.
He again?
No. I wouldn't bore you with that. But the big topic for the week, and we saved this for last, is of course the salary increase. And there has been commentary after commentary after commentary, commentator after commentator, and it is not good. Everybody and their grandmother is up in arms about this salary increase.
Okay.
All right? And so the Premier would have gotten this and say he got a bombshell to drop. Big news. The cabinet has voted to give themselves a 15% salary raise. All right? He has done that. Former member of parliament and former, of the CCM cabinet, former member of CCM cabinet, Hazel Brandy Williams, came out very strongly condemning. She had 3 points of attack. He's not deserving, the time is bad, people are struggling, and such and such. Wonderful presentation. And then it spread to St. Kitts. And on his show on Thursday evening, Big Lice had this to say.
The same way I came here and I said that our federal government had no cause to take the 33%. I will say it here loud and clear. Nevis Island administration, Mr. Mark Bradley, you should not have taken that 15%. And the reason why is not that you don't deserve it, but the reason I would say and give tonight is that the way things are tight in the federation, the country, timing is important. People don't understand in politics now. Timing is important. I ask you a question. How we gonna look? How we gonna look to see that people struggling on their small salary? How we gonna look that Nevis got their increase but they get it in pieces? 555 over 3 years. How we gonna look that this never keep up the price on the lights? How we gonna look that water gone up? No more money in the people in pocket. People struggling, but the NIA come and take an increase. I can't support that one there. But I can't support that one there. That one there is wrong. The timing is everything. And I hope that somebody would fix them there. When we talk, you could go back and fix it. You could go back and do like Mayor Martin and say, okay, we cancel it. We don't want it no more. Because I don't believe the NIA members are so strapped for they're getting good money and they're getting allowances and they're getting everything else. So that just not right for me. That they just so here it is, inland revenue people, they say they can't get the money, but the NIA ministers of government getting their money. Another thing, and I want to address it now, I remember things when I go. I don't want to hear no politician telling me that how permanent secretaries or other people in the country making more money than us. When you choose to be in politics, you choose to serve the people. They give you a little money, yes, but it's a service-driven position. So you should not be thinking about making the most money.
That was Big Lies. All right, and he sounded off on his salary increase. Here's a Brandy Williams would have written a marvelous piece on it. Let me see if I can find it. Where is it?
We're looking for that.
Go ahead.
I have one disagreement with what Big Lies would have said in his commentary.
They deserve it.
That they deserve it. They do not deserve it. No. They did absolutely nothing.
Right?
Performance matters. Okay? And so I can't agree with that. They did not deserve it. They do not.
You know, that day reminds me, Tulu, when we were children, my mother would say, man no work, no answer.
Eat.
No answer.
No answer.
Man no eat. Yes, mommy.
Okay.
That is how they say it.
I want to read into the record for those persons who are not on Facebook or on social media to speak of. I want to read into the record what former Minister Hazel Brandy Williams would have written a couple of days ago. And her headline is "Everybody is worthy of wealth."
Good.
He says, "I for one have absolute no problem with a pay increase, but it must be 1, justified by performance, 2, fair compensation, and 3, time sensitive." The bombshell which the Premier dropped on us yesterday lacked all of the above. It suggests to me that he was either ill-advised or he has absolutely no respect or regard for the present state of the economy and by extension the people of Nevis.
Of course.
Mr. Premier, tell us, how do you justify an additional 15% pay hike for yourself, amassing a whopping 48% when you have not, 1, delivered fair share for Nevis after 3 elections, 2, completed major projects, example, the Alexandria Hospital, 3, attracted any major investment that could employ 60 or more workers, 4, grown the economy. Clearly, your performance does not justify your pay. So tell me, how can your 48% increase in less than 12 months be fair and equitable when civil servants were given 10% over a 3-year period? You received yours in 1 tranche when you can see it and feel it, while hard-working, dedicated civil servants were paid in hacks and herrings. Mr. Premier, I want to tell you, you are spending bad. Mr. Premier, you are making bad financial decisions. Mr. Premier, your timing is off. The economy is dead. You have halted increments 3 years now. The first overdraft has been converted into a loan. The second overdraft is almost more than the loan right now. Schools suffered throughout this term without basic needs of toilet paper, printing paper, and ink. 6, the wastrel spending on Culturama Village to serve a single anniversary celebration. 7, do you have an emergency fund for the hurricane season, which is predicted to be above average? Do you have a plan for the over 300 students who have completed overseas exams, and what are your plans for them? Mr. Premier, you have failed the 3 most basic but fundamental principles when considering and awarding a salary increase. But as Calypso King Benno said, it's the last of it, so make the best of it. All right? Again, that came from the pen of former minister Hazel Brandy Williams over there in St. James. Now,
that's a rational approach.
Of course. In spite of all this, and I would have written on Facebook regarding my disapproval, Dr. Hodge would have written about her disappointment, and she will call in on Thursday evening and tell me to register her disappointment. And something she said triggered my curiosity. And it has to do with the constitutionality of what occurred. And so, of course, I went digging through the St. Kitts and Nevis Constitution on my phone. And within 10 minutes, I found the appropriate passage that proved what Dr. Hodge was saying on Thursday evening conclusively, that this raise is unconstitutional.
Yes.
There is a separation of powers. You as cabinet cannot give yourself a pay raise. It's illegal. It's unconstitutional. What they did should not and could not stand up in a court of law if challenged. What they did was illegal. They gave themselves a pay raise without putting a bill before Parliament to authorize withdrawing money from the consolidated fund. You cannot simply, after the budget is passed in 2024, for 2024, you simply cannot go in and spend willy-nilly. You are constrained by what is contained in the budget. If there's an emergency, you go to Parliament and you pass a resolution to expand the budget or make any changes. You have to bring this thing to discussion in Parliament. Both sides of the opposition and the government will have a chance to debate the bill to increase the appropriation from what it is to what it should be with the increase in salaries. Nothing of that happened. Nothing happened like that. So what we are dealing with, despite of all the issues about fairness, timeliness, and appropriateness, and what the gentleman from St. Kitts Big Life is saying, the time was bad. All that is fine. But the basic fundamental problem is this is illegal.
It's legal.
It is.
And I want to, listen, in my hand here, this is the document. This is a printed out the copy of the appropriate section of our Constitution, which guides how governments are supposed to get monies out of the consolidated fund, right? And chapter 6, on the finance. Item 70. No money shall be withdrawn from the consolidated fund except no money shall be withdrawn from the consolidated fund except A, to meet expenditure that is charged upon the fund by this Constitution or by any law enacted by Parliament. You hear? No money shall be withdrawn from the consolidated fund except to meet expenditure that is charged upon the fund by this Constitution or by any law enacted by Parliament, or where the issue of those monies has been authorized by an appropriation law or by a law made pursuant to Section 72. My people, this government here has demonstrated they have no regard for our laws. This is not the first time. This is not the first time, not the second, not the third, not the fourth time. This is a government that is a criminal enterprise that feels that they're the mafia, that they can run this country how they want, when they want, and mess up anybody they want. They can dip their hand in the treasury as they feel fit. So where's the regard for this?
But
where's the regard for this? Where, since December of 2024, or 2023, sorry, was any mention made in the Parliament regarding any increase for any minister, any parliamentarian?
No.
I looked through the budget. There is no provision for no salary increase for no ministers or Parliament. There's none. So where did the authority come from?
From the Premier.
Where did the authority come from to simply dip into the treasury and take out the people's money?
From the Premier's cabinet.
The federal government enacted an increase, but that followed a report by a committee. Mm-hmm. They made a recommendation, but that is the standard thing, because the although people say a lot of things about the Constitution, yes, they are working. It's a work in progress. But the Constitution, based on what you just read here, Kelly, the Constitution make it clear you can't be, as a government, going to government and decide and among yourselves and by yourselves that you will have an increase just so, or that there is a way to do it. As far as I know, it's always been a committee set up, and based on the recommendations, the government follow the regulations, or they decide on which part. But you can't decide to give yourself a raise in pay, especially if you did a survey in Nevis and you ask anybody, do you think the Premier and his team deserve a salary increase, you're likely to get a resounding no. And the idea or the audacity that the government can refuse to follow the legal provisions outlined by the constitutions to access the consolidated fund money is very, very serious. So, Ken, what happens tomorrow? They can go back tomorrow and say we need some money for X, we need some money for Y, just so, without any provision, without any consideration for the law. And you see, in a democracy, you need a lot of people to be watchmen on the walls of freedom, like John F. Kennedy used to say. You got to have these watchmen, and that is something like what we do here. You have to have people who looking, and the society in Nevis sometimes seems to be uninterested and not caring about what happens in the country. If you go to the parliament, if you go today and decide you want to give yourself a salary increase, what to stop you from giving another one next year?
Drew, let me jump in here. Tulu, sorry to cut you off.
Go ahead.
Adela McClendon is asking a very important question. And she's saying, I want someone to ask Drew the question about this salary increase. Because, you see, Dr. Drew has touted himself as...
Prime Minister Sinkis Nevis.
No, not only that, but good governance.
Okay.
There's a good governance agenda. And for the most part, I believe him. I believe he's sincere. I believe he's genuine, interested in good governance. But you're on a trip with a man
who just take up
the people's money without authorization from the parliament in Nevis. What do you say to him, Dr. Drew? Well done, my good and faithful servant.
Can't tell him anything.
I mean, there is a responsibility. There must be a responsibility that your good governance agenda must transcend the channel and come to Nevis. It must apply to Nevis too.
Because it supersedes.
Because you are keeping counsel with a man who has no regard for good governance. You are taking them trips to all over the place on our taxpayers' money in Nevis. And you seem very comfortable. You seem very comfortable with the Dr. Drew. And I'm saying, no, you are the big brother in this relationship. You are the prime minister. How can you not come out and say, boy, Brantley, you screwed up on that one here. You need to pull this back. Well, he's making the good governance agenda look bad.
Maybe they had a brief conversation on it. But you know, when you read that, Dr. Daly, somebody called me last evening and said to me, this peruse that Mark Brantley announced for himself and the Parliament of Nevis is illegal. That's what I mean. He said it's illegal. And it is something that should be challenged in court because there are regulations in how this thing should be done, and you read it. And the regulation was not followed, so it's something that is illegal. Now, the Premier beat himself and prayed himself and saying that he believes in the rule and the rule of law, and that not one syllable or dot or punctuation mark in the Constitution has ever changed. well, how is it that there are regulations as to how he could approve an increase for himself, and that increase was not followed? That regulation is not followed. Because what? We allow him to do that. When he decided that he's going to take 2 salaries, we look in the Constitution. Anywhere in the Constitution says that a parliamentarian from Nevis can take a full salary in Nevis and a full salary in St. Kitts. I am told that is not in the Constitution. So he took it upon himself to say, well, the Constitution didn't say I can, and the Constitution didn't say I can't. So I am going to take. So whatever suits him. But again, it went back since 1983 or thereabout, when they were allowed to pull out of the revenue sharing mechanism that is enshrined in the Constitution. And ever since that, they decide what they will abide to based on the Constitution and what they will not abide to. It just happened that this present Premier that we have has maximized this to the point now where he will be personally benefiting from the decision that he made, he and his cabinet, to the tune of 15% increase for himself. It is illegal. My question is, what happened to the, what they call themselves, the legal people, what
Chamber of Commerce, legal, what do you call them, the Bar Association?
The Bar Association. What happened to those people who made up the Bar Association? When Douglas was there, they came out and they made proclamations on what Douglas could have done legally or illegally. But I haven't heard a word out of them since this pronouncement was made. They're sick. Their lips are tied. Are they saying, we ain't touching this guy because this guy is such a bad guy and we don't want him to cuss us out, and so therefore we ain't going to say nothing because he's going to cuss us out? Somebody has let us down.
Well,
and
a lot of people have let us down.
This matter should be challenged.
It will be challenged, believe me.
Okay.
I got this afternoon when I went to the studio another post by former Minister Brandy Williams.
Another one?
And he says, let us raise our voices against injustice. To pay or not to pay, part 2.
Okay.
And it reads, it is no secret that we are all struggling to make ends meet. Obviously, some are struggling more than others. But the fact remains that we're all struggling. Imagine for the first 6 months of 2024, we have been hit by increases in 4 basic needs areas. 1, electricity. 2, water. 3, hospital fees and medication. 4, property taxes. And this was done with impunity. Absolutely no one is exempted from this atrocity. But the silence among my people is deafening.
True.
I'm calling on the Chamber, the Bar, Christian Council, Evangelical Association to lend their voices to this conversation. I am not asking for a political statement. I'm simply asking for some unbiased, unprejudiced, and honest analysis of this situation. Bearing in mind that the consumers will be taxed twice, directly and indirectly, there ought to be some representation for us. Remember, these consumers are your church members, which means it will affect your collections. Those consumers are your clients, and it will affect your bottom line. But most importantly, these consumers are unable to meet these obligations, hence the need for your intervention at this time. Injustice on one is injustice on everyone. Injustice somewhere is injustice everywhere. And so this is done by Hazel Brandy Williams, former cabinet minister of the NIA.
That underscores the point I just made, that we need to be watchmen on the walls of freedom. And you mention all of these organizations. That is what we are promoting here on the radio, that, A democracy requires the efforts of the chamber, the bar association, the civil societies, the Christian councils, evangelical associations, all of these people to be able to make it work. So ours is not working.
I agree.
Ours is not working.
I agree. Here's the problem.
Ours is not working.
Here's the problem. If you were to dissect the political entanglements out of these organizations, there will be no organization.
I just wanted to say one thing, Jill, in relation, you made the point about if you disentangle the associations. I have to say, when we were in government and the OECS court said that Mr. Parry and I were guilty of bad faith and misconduct in the preparation of the voters list. And then they took out the paragraph 90. The Bar Association president instructed the bar, hey, none of you say anything about this court because all you're going to still have to, remember, all you got to come back to the court to rule on cases for you all, which tells me that the court, the lawyer was essentially, chairman of the bar was essentially saying, look, this is not a court that can separate personal from professional or personal from legal.
Let's take this call. Good afternoon, Target.
Yeah, blessed afternoon. So what the nigger man do? He not create social and economical violence for us.
Yes, of course.
You're talking about violence. What he do? Well, I understand. Answer me and tell me what he do. If he not create social and economical violence for us.
All right. All right. All right. All right.
Varying opinions.
I mean, I appreciate everybody's opinions. I, for one, it's my responsibility,
of course,
to go to the poll and vote. It's my responsibility to make sure this government does not continue. And so whatever legal means, we have to do it with these demonstrations, legally orchestrated demonstrations. That is the direction we have to go. We still are a law-abiding country, and we can't afford to descend into anarchy at all. All right? Even though pain is being inflicted at us, we have one man, one vote. One finger, one ink, one piece of paper. And that's all.
John Lewis from the United States said that the most powerful way to bring about change in a country is by voting. And so you have an administration that is treating you unfairly, and you can see clearly that the administration is more about itself rather than the people. The people has the most powerful tool that we have. Is not the gun, is not the knife, is not the stick, is not the stone. It's simple going there with a pencil and make an X. That's the most powerful thing. But you know, one of the things that I find...
You realize it's 3 o'clock, right?
Wow. One of the things that I found interesting on this island is that in 2012, the 11th of July, there was a plot to overthrow a government, to create havoc. You heard one reporter spoke about, I was called personally to come, I had stones, we know about the stones and the sticks and the threats. I did not hear the kind of condemnation towards that level of violence where people got their face punched in and get their tires slashed and all the threats that was leveled. I didn't hear that type of pushback, people saying, hey, what was done and led by the system administration was wrong, and condemn it.
Dog lock and cat lock on the scene.
But on the other side, you say something to express yourself, how you feel about the matter, then you should be condemned. And listen, I'm agreeing with Dr. Daly. We, the Nevis Reformation Party, has never advocated violence. They have never encouraged people to get involved in violence. The Concerned Citizens Movement has advocated violence. They have encouraged people to get involved in violence in this country. And you must make that distinction when we speak.
All right. We are like more and more people are signing on as the program is coming to an end. I'm seeing names that I never saw before, so I guess the call is going around. Boy, things hot today.
You say people are signing in now?
Somebody named Lana Destiny say, wow, the callers are antsy today.
Lana Destiny?
Lana Destiny.
I know who that person is.
You should.
Lana Destiny.
Very well.
I would think so. All right, folks, we are done for today. I do thank you for your participation.
You finished your issues?
Yes, we are done.
Oh, okay.
And so it's 5 past the hour of 3.
Just enough.
All right, so we'll see you next week, Saturday, same time, same station, God willing. And again, be safe on the weekend. I'm going fishing. All right? I'm going fishing. I need to get out on the ocean and catch some fish and relax myself.
You want to catch some fish or you want to relax?
Both.
Okay.
Both.
It's too hot on land.
Yeah, it's too hot on land right now.
It's cooler in the sea.
So anyway, I do thank you all, and we'll see you next week. God bless.